Welcome, it's Gail here. This video is about showing how to create these 3D ornaments on the left side. I'm already in Google Drive and I've already come up with a folder that's called Winter Holiday Decor. If you need to create a folder, you'll just go up here to the plus sign where it says New and you will choose Folder and follow the directions. Also, to get to Google Drawing, you will also click here and we'll go down to More and we'll go out and find Google Drawings right here. Where it says Untitled Drawing, I'm going to type in 3D Ornaments. And I'm going to move that to my new folder in Google Drive so I can find it later. There we go. And we're ready to get started. Now I'm taking 2 fingers to press down on the mouse or the launch pad, and I'm going down here to background. And I'm going up here to the top to choose the right side where it says gradient. And I'm going to choose the top white linear gradient color. And I'm also going back to, I'm clicking down again with both fingers because I'm going to change that. That's a little too gray. So I'm coming down to custom and I'm selecting the one on the right and I'm going to move it over to stop. So that one looks like it's about right here. So 1, 2, I'll click that one and now we have a nice background. And if I want, I could go even lighter later. So the next step is to pull out our shapes. So we're going to the Shapes tool. This time we're going down to Callouts and we're going to choose the 6-star here, 6-pointed star. I'm going to pull this one out, move it up to the top, and I'm going back to pull out some more shapes. I'm going to Callouts again. This time I'm going with the 5-sided star. And I'll bring this one over here a little bit. And one more. I have to deselect before I choose the next one, by the way. So I'm going to Callouts again, and I'll go over. And this time, I think I'm going to choose the 8-sided star. We'll pull this one out like so. And you can make these any size you want and play around with your arrangement. I'm going to see if I can find the middle here. And then maybe I'll take this one out a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now the next step is we will create our lines coming down from the top. So I'm going to select the line tool right here. I'm just going to click on the line tool and then I'm holding down the shift key when I do this. I'm just going to pull a line from the top and connect it down here. And I'm going to get rid of that one by hitting delete or backspace. You can also go up here to undo. And I'm ready to draw a couple more lines here. I'm just going to start at the top, hold down the shift key and pull it down. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And this one looks like it needs to be moved over. So to do so and to get out of this line tool, I want to either click Escape on the keyboard or click Select with this arrow right here. And then I'll just move it over a tad bit. And you know, this can be a little finicky, so it might take a little time to play around with. Let me just move that over a little bit. Now later on I might bring this line down at the end and I'll show you why when we get there. So the next step is to create a half shape of all 3 of these shapes. So to do so, we will go to the toggle next to the line tool, click on this, and go down to the polyline. And I'm going to start at the top here, and I'm going to match up my crosshair and click on all of these points and corners. And then I'm going to bring this all the way up to the top to create a shape, like so. And I will do the same on the other 2 shapes. One more. I missed that one a little bit. Now, if you do miss some of the points here, I already have this one selected. First of all, I want to click escape on the keyboard or go up to the arrow, and I clicked escape. Then I'm going to double click inside the shape, and then I get these little points. So I'm going to move this one up a little bit, so it's probably a good thing that I demonstrate that anyway. And the others aren't too bad, and I'm going to leave them just as they are. So I'm going to click outside that shape, so that way it's selected like this, and then we get to have some fun. So we've already created this shape right here. What we're going to do is just bring it in a little bit, probably about like so. Then we're going to duplicate it by hitting Control plus D or Command plus D on the keyboard. I'm going to move it back up to this, match it up with the other line, and then I'm going to bring this one in, and I'm going to repeat that one more time after this. So I'm hitting Command plus D or Control plus D, and I'm going to bring this one in, and I'm going to do this on all my shapes. I think I want to bring this one in a little bit more, so I might play around with this just a tad bit and take my time on this part so I don't have to come back and do it later. Okay, that looks great. And what we're going to do, we'll do something else in a minute. Let's just keep going with this one. So I have this one here. I'm going to duplicate it. If I want to, I could duplicate it 3 times, but I like to do it one at a time. Command plus D or Control plus D, match it up. Command plus D or Control plus D, match it up again. When I say D, I mean D as in dog, just in case you can't hear me very well. And I'll move this one in like so. And that looks pretty good. I might come up here and bring this one in just a tad bit more too. Yeah. Okay, so last one. Control plus D or Command plus D. And as you can see, I'm just making them skinnier each time to bring them inward. And looks like this one can come out just a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to do something real quick before I add any more. I'm going to click on this shape right here while it's easy. And this one, I'm going to come up to the fill color, go over to gradient, choose the color you want. I'm just going to keep it red because it's a little easier to work with. I'm choosing this one right here, the dark red 2 linear gradient color. And I have the color for my background. I'm also going to change the black line around it to that darker red, and this is the color palette I chose, or the values I chose. Values range from light to dark, so I'm going to just click that one. This one down here, I'm going to change to the green, dark green right here, and I'm going back to change that line color to the dark green under solid line colors there. And then I'm clicking on the blue, going to the fill color bucket, clicking on gradient and choosing the, let's see, which blue do I want? I think I'm going to stick with this one because it's just got a little bit more values to it. So I'm going to click on that one and also go to my blues. So there's 2 sets of blues. I'm in this range over here, so I'll click that one. And you know, you could play around with those color palettes and stuff too, but I like to keep it kind of simple. So now I have all of that done. The next step is we are going to hold down the Shift key and select all 3 of these light blue ones. And we're going to arrange to group them together. And after we do so, we can hit Command plus D, and we've duplicated it. Now we're going up to arrange, and we're going down to rotate, and we're going to rotate them or flip them horizontally. And then I'm going to move them up and line them up on this side. Like so. And I might need to play around with this a little bit later, but that looks pretty good for right now. So, oh, I already have one extra one here. So I'm going to see if I can get rid of that one. And 1, 2, 3. I had one extra one there. And I think I have one extra one up here too. So I'm going to grab this one and hold down the shift key and go to arrange, group them together, Control plus D or Command plus D, and go up to rotate it and flip it horizontally. And we'll move it over here. And then we'll come up here and we'll get rid of this last one by deleting it. And then I'll take that middle one. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter there. So I might as well take my time on this part now instead of later. Maybe I'll make this one come in a little bit. So I'm just playing around with it a tad bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm collecting all of them. And I'm going to, oops, I went to the wrong thing. I meant to go up to Group. And now Command plus D or Control plus D, go to Arrange, go down to Rotate, and flip horizontally. And that looks pretty darn good. Okay, awesome. We're done with this part. Now for the fun part, but also the tedious part. I'm going back to this section over here, and I'm going to ungroup it. So I'm going to Arrange and just clicking Ungroup. And then I'm going to choose this one over here. Actually, what I'm going to do real quick, I'm holding down the Shift key and I'm selecting all 3 of those, even though they're ungrouped. And I'm going to select the ones on the other side too. I'm going to select all of these, even though those are still grouped. And I'm going to change the colors so I can stay in the same color palette. So I'm going to, unfortunately, I lost all of them. So there we go. I got them again. I'm going to the fill bucket, going to gradient, and I'm going to keep all of them in the same color range right now. And do the same down on these others too. And the reason why I'm doing this is it'll be easier to adjust them and it will save us time in the future. Okay, there we go. So the next step is to have fun with these colors. So this one's going to be, this side over here is going to be the lighter side. So I'm going to select this one right here. And I'm going up to the fill color. And I already have this one selected. That's why we did this. So we can come to custom. And all we're going to do is change each one a stop higher. So this one's on the dark red down here, so I'm going to go one up. Same thing over here. You know, right now I'm going to keep this one the same, and I'll explain why in a little bit, because we need it to be a little darker, and if I need to, I can come back and change it later. So I have that one. I'm also going to change this line right here by going to the border color, and I'm going to change this one to probably a lighter red right there, just to give the edge of the paper a little brightness, and if I need to I can come back and change that too. So I'm going to select the next one. I'm going to custom. This time I'm going 2 stops up from the bottom to this one right here, and I will come over and change this red, which looks like it's this one right here, so I'll go 1 up. And I also need to change that black line. So I'm not too concerned about if these are the same color. I'm just trying to get a little thickness and a little pop. I'm coming to the one in the center now, and I'm going to custom, and this time I think we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I might go to this one and click over here and go one up from there. Let's see if that works. And that's pretty good. Now I'm going to select it again, and when I go to the line color, I think I will go with maybe this color right here too, and it gives a little bit of a pop down here at the bottom. So the next side, we're going to go a little darker. So this is going to be the darkest one here in the front, and while I have them grouped, I'm seeing if I can just select this one. It's a little harder though. Let me just show you this. I'm going to deselect all of the, or ungroup all of them by going to arrange and ungroup. And that way I have a little bit more control over it. I'm going to grab this one on top and go to custom. And since I want this one to be really dark, I don't know, I'm going to try this one right here and see if that's dark enough. And that looks pretty good. I'm also going to change that line color to the dark red down here. Then I'm going to the next one. This one's actually pretty good right here. I'm just going to select it and see where we are. And maybe, I don't know if I could take that one maybe one darker. Maybe I'll go with the second one right there. And that one's blending in too much. So I am just going back to select this one again for now. And this one, for some reason, I like to give it a little bit more pop just to make it stand out more. So I'm actually going to keep this one, I'm going to take this one stop lighter and maybe take this one to keep it in the red tone. I might add another one in the center here, and I might take this to red too. And by doing so, I have a little bit more control over how much light is going to show there. And that's pretty dark right now. Maybe I'll have to come back and change it later. And I don't know, I think this one still has a black line, so I'm going to actually go with a little bit of a lighter color here. And that one doesn't show up much, so I'll take it one more lighter. And this one, I don't know if that one will work too. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And actually this line over here should be darker. I just like to make them pop out. Maybe there's a light coming from the front and from the side. And I know we haven't added the shadows yet, but that looks pretty fun and good so far. So I'm going to keep it like this. This one's standing out a little too much, so I am going to click on it and go back and take this one right here down a stop, since I've controlled this in the middle a little bit more. Maybe that'll be a little bit darker. And that looks better. And if I want, I could change this to a darker color, but it's going to blend in. I just like to make it look like the paper is kind of standing out there. Now the next time, or the next step is I'm coming down to this one. So I'm going to choose the second one right here. I have to ungroup these. Choosing this one, custom, going one stop lighter on each side. And I might go lighter on that one. I'm also going to change that line color. I'm going to go 2 stops up for right now. This one will be even lighter. So I'm probably here. And then I'm going to go one more up there. See how that looks? That's pretty bright. I might have to come back and change that. I'll give that a light line right there. Might be standing out too much, but let me take this down just a little bit because I can already tell that's too much. And I'm going to take it down here. I'm going to add one little circle here in the middle, and I might take this one to this medium green just to control it a little bit more and see if that's enough to change it. And that worked pretty well. So the one in the middle is the one that will be the lightest on the right side. And I'm going to give that a light line there. And that's popping out quite nicely. This side will be my darkest one. And let me go on ahead and ungroup these. So I'll grab this one, and I think I'm going to add one in the middle, and I'll just make this the dark green to kind of hold that down a little bit, kind of make it a little darker there. Give it a little bit something at the top. That looks pretty good. I'm also going to change that line or the edge of the paper to a little bit lighter. I'm grabbing the next one. This one I will make I think this one's going to be about the same as it is. I might just go to custom and add one in the middle, come over here and see if I can make it a little bit lighter. And then I'm going to click this one, and I'll have to change that line there too. I'm going to make this one a little bit on the lighter side just because I got to have a little fun with it and make it stand out more. So this one I will give a lighter line, and you can just play around with this and see what works for you. So that's standing out quite a bit with those lines there. I'm trying to think, this one stands out a little bit too much right here, so I'm going to grab it, come back to this green right here, and probably take this one down one notch and see if that's enough to kind of spread it out a little bit. It is. I'm going to come back to this one in the middle and make this one just a tad bit darker. And I think I'm going to change this color over here to this green here. See if that works. And then it looks like I can go a little bit lighter with this one again. So it does take a little time to kind of play around with it and see what works, and yeah, that one works better. So luckily you can choose some of those custom colors you already made to kind of get the look that you want. Last one. So I'm clicking on the second one here and coming up to my color palette, which that's a light blue right there. Let's see if I can. I'm going to go one up there, come over here, and see if I can go one down. And let's change this black outline to a little bit of a lighter color. Oops, I did all of them, but that works okay. And I don't know if, I think I want to make that one a little bit darker on this side. So I might just spread it out a little bit and see. Okay, let's click on this one. I still need to ungroup these. I forgot to do that. Let's see if I can make this one a little bit lighter. And I'm going to go to this one and see if I can make it even lighter. And that's working pretty well. On this one, I want it to pop out a little bit more, so I could either go with a darker line. Maybe I will just on this one. Actually, the light's hitting this way, so I'm going to take it one step lighter. And that works pretty well. Now I'm going over to this one, and I'm going to ungroup these. I'm going to select the inside one and go with custom again. Maybe I'll add one in the middle here, and we'll take this one down to the dark one as well. And this one over here, I'm going to take it one stop down just to see how that works. And then we'll give it a lighter color, but not too light. And then I'm clicking on the next one. That one looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to change the line color for right now and see what happens. And then I'm going to select the next one, and I am going to play around with the colors on this one. So I have that. I'm going to add one in the middle. I like to make this one just a tad bit lighter. So that one has my gray. That's probably a little too light. Let's go one down here and see how that works. And it's not standing out that well. So maybe I can take this one and I'm going to add one in the center here and keep that a little darker. And go back to this one. I'm going to just make it lighter. Maybe I still need to take that one step just a little bit lighter right here. I'm going to take it up one. So you can play around with this and see what you can come up with. But that looks pretty good. I just need to change this line color. And now they're all standing out well. If you happen to have a really light line down the center, we could take care of that, but these look really good. And it looks like I just want to change this line to make it lighter. So come up to there. That one's not standing out that much, so I'll go up one more. And that's starting to pop out. Now to select everything together, to do one of the last steps, we're going to hold down the Control key or the Command key if you're on an Apple, and we are going to hold down the letter A. By doing so, we select everything except for the background, and we are going to come up here to Arrange, and we are going to group them. So that way they won't move around. Now, while these are selected still, I want to come up here to Format Options. If I click off of this, Format Options disappear. So you definitely want to have this selected first. And if you see 3 horizontal dots out to the side, click on those to find Format Options. Now I'm going to click on this. This time I'm going to move this over a little bit because we're almost done. And we're going to drop shadow, so you're just going to click on the arrow here so it goes downward. We're going to keep it with the black color, and we're going to play around with the distance a little bit. So I'm going to bring that out some, and that's actually about where we want it. And then I'm just going to pull the blur radius out just a little bit to soften it. I might see if I can take this out a little bit more. So you can have fun with this and see how much you want to do. But I want to see if I can get, yeah, we can get quite a bit of a casting shadow there. And that looks pretty good. So once we click off of it, that's the look that we were going for. We have everything we wanted. There's a slight white line down here, and if that bothers you, all you have to do is take this vertical line that we created right here. We need to deselect it, or not deselect it, but ungroup it. Go up to Arrange and go to Ungroup, and then just bring this line down the center. Okay, I'm going to hold down the Shift key and I'm going to select all 3 of these. And the reason why it's not working is they're behind. So I'm going to bring them to the front by coming up to Arrange, and I'm going to Order, and I'm going to click Bring them to the front. And now we got rid of that line. Now that's kind of dark, but if I wanted to, I could go to the line tool over here and create another line and change the color inside a little bit. But I'm just going to keep this one like this for right now. That little line I just created, I'm going to click Delete. And that's it for this video. So I hope it worked well for you, and I wish you the best, and happy holidays.